And Hannah and I also want to take a minute just to extend a really personal thank you on behalf of all of the fine staff.
There's one attendee at the summit who's here for the last time in their current role. Peter Allison has been involved in putting together every summit that we have hosted. I personally met him at a summit in 2017 when I was introduced to FINE and applied for an internship here. And as we bring the 2025 summit to a close, it is not lost on our team what an impact Peter has had on this network and on the way that we gather. And we want to say that, Peter, your DNA is baked into the summit, and it will be for as long as this event happens, which hopefully will be a very long time. So thank you. Okay, so in a minute, we're going to have about 15 to 20 minutes to talk in groups about the kind of support that you are looking for, the kind of support that you can offer, and the kinds of actions that you want to call people into, small, big, medium, anything. And we're going to do this along specific topics, which are, there's sticky pads on the table, on certain tables. These are a handful of topics to start. So I think we have supporting farmers here. We've got storytelling here. We've got LFS, LFPA, CEP there, climate in the back, food hub and processors and value coordination. Does anybody have the carceral sticky Oh,
Thank you.
Excellent. And then if there are other topics, there's blank stickies here and markers. Does anybody want to add another topic while we're at it? And we can. All right. So when we break, find that area. There's a couple stickies, so if you need more than one table, spend about 15, 20 minutes talking with your table about these things. You can use the stickies as notes, and then we'll have some time for sharing out and engaging others in those calls to action. And there are postcards on your tables, but just ignore those for now. I think that's all I want to say. So go ahead and rearrange. We'll have until about 3 o'clock for discussion. And you'll see some of the questions here on the slides.
Great conversation still going on in the room, but what we want to do is we want to make sure for a little bit of time to share back out. We are definitely in a time where we're seeing a lot of impacts happening to farm to institution, and we know that a lot of people are organizing, they're reflecting on what's going on, they're organizing, they're thinking about how do we advocate for this incredibly important movement that we're all part of, and we want to make some space to share some of that. There's a couple things that we already know about, and we hope a lot more has come out as you've been having these discussions. So right now, what I'd like to do is invite someone up to the stage who has been doing some of that organizing and has a really great opportunity for folks to get involved in. And she's coming right up. This is Cassandra from National Farm to School.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you to FINE and the sponsors and everybody who has made this summit possible. It's really warmed my heart and filled my cup. So yeah, I'm Cassandra Bull. I'm with the National Farm to School Network, and I'm going to share a little bit about what's happening with federal farm to school policy and how you can take action today. I know we're all angry. I've seen a lot of hurt. And right now we need everyone, and I mean everyone, to channel that into collective action. So I know a lot of you know what's been going on, but I'm just going to give a recap and do a little bit of a level setting. And the first and most recent program that I want to talk about is the Patrick Leahy Farm to School Grant Program. It's been a really transformative program, started in 2010 through the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act, and it's awarded $100 million thus far. I counted. 10 million has gone to New England, and an additional 7 million has gone to New York. So USDA canceled the fiscal year 2025 round of funding after applicants, many of you had already written your proposals, spent time and resources on the proposals, and we think that is harm. So it's mandated in statute to have awarded $5 million every year, and they were going to award $10 million this year. They announced just last week that the reason is because there was equity language and preferences that are no longer in accordance with the administration. So they indicated that they'll bring it back in fiscal year 2026, but without that equity language. So not only is that a step in the wrong direction, we think, but we're also really skeptical of these plans, and we all need to hold USDA's feet to the fire in the upcoming months. Thank you, yes. So what we, National Farm to School Network, has done, we submitted a Freedom of Information Act request just this week to see who applied, how much they applied for, and get really a full indication of what that harm is and what the scope is there. Also, last Friday, Congressman McGovern of Massachusetts and 38 other House Democrats sent a letter to USDA demanding answers, many of whom were from the Northeast. So thank you to all of you who made that happen and contacted your legislators. The second, what we've been hearing about all throughout this summit, is the local Food for Schools and Childcare funding, or LFSCC. This, along with the sister program, Local Food Purchasing Assistance Program, was terminated on March 7th, which was only a month ago. It feels like forever. And of the $660 million for LFSCC, $25 million of that was going to go right here in New England, and an additional $39 million to New York over a 3-year span. So that's a lot of economic hurt. And the third program, which is really wonky, is the Community Eligibility Program. We were just talking about that in our group. And this allows low-income schools to operate a building level or multi-building level universal free school meals program. It is right now in imminent jeopardy. And this program not only feeds kids, which is amazing, but it allows school meal programs to be more efficient, and we know that this allows more time for farm-to-school activities. So right now, Congress is proposing through the budget process to make this program more restrictive and to increase burdens so that 100% of families have to prove their income and that they need school meals support. Currently, I believe that audit number is 3%, so that is a huge difference. This proposal would force, according to the Food Research and Action Center, FRAC, more than 24,000 schools nationwide, serving 12 million children, to drop CEP. So we know that that would wreak havoc on school meal programs, and it would slow, if not halt, if not reverse universal meals programs. That's our worry. So FRAC, as I mentioned, has state-specific resources, so you can see what districts are impacted in your area, so you can speak up. And then I have to mention, because we're in Maine, that just last week, USDA froze Maine's current, happening right now, Farm to School State Formula Grant Program. And so we're all extremely devastated by these announcements. From all sides, it feels like this movement is being attacked, and it's already having a devastating impact on our community. So that's enough bad news, but luckily we're all here, we're all still here. And we're driven by a purpose. We're connected by a network and a network of networks, and we're all strong and we have a voice. And so I'm going to share a little bit of how you can help, because right now is really the time to stand up and protect school meals and farm to school. And I just right before this posted this in the Whova community chat, so the links are there, and please do use them. The number one thing you can do is contact your elected officials. So National Farm to School Network has a really easy way to do this. We created an action center yesterday on our website. But really do, please tell your electeds your personal story and how these decisions have impacted you and are affecting your livelihood, especially schools and farmers. They need to know that real people in their area care about these programs, and it needs to come from each and every one of you. Also, Congress is in recess starting next week to April 27th. So if you can, attend a town hall and invite your representatives to your school or farm if they'll come or their staff. You need to show them why this work matters. There's also, please sign on to the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition's organizational sign-on letter. This letter calls for Secretary Rollins to restore funding to LFSCC and LFPA. It's for organizations, not individuals, but please do, if you have the power at all, sign on to that letter. It's due at the end of the day. It's a hard deadline on Friday, and that link is in Whova. National Farm to School Network also has a petition, which is for individuals and organizations. It's calling on USDA to recognize the need for vital investments in farmers and child nutrition. Also, just contact the media and tell your stories. So we've seen an incredible grassroots outrage, really, over the last month. We've counted over 175 articles coming from small local news outlets to the big national ones. So we have a media tracker, I also shared in Whova, that we've have all of these articles for you to read. We've pulled out the quotes, and please do email me and add your story. And then we also have a survey where you can share your story and we can add it really to document and get out the word, all of this impact. So we really do need to keep up the attention on these cuts and pressure for a solution. And then on the state and local level, we've seen the important role that state officials like ag commissioners who have a powerful voice that carries weight and credibility as messengers for our issues, whether that's federal officials, the media, or across their peers in other states. The same goes for state and local legislators and other policymakers. So state budgets, we know, are likely to be more constrained in the near future, and therefore outreach, relationships, and storytelling can help protect the programs right now and share, especially when many other policy priorities are competing for that funding. Lastly, just share this with your networks. Share as far as you can. Urge your networks, specifically farmers, farmer-serving organizations, and conservative organizations to speak up for farm to school. So moving forward, National Farm to School Network is going to push for a permanent federal program like LFSCC with a sustained source of funding via the Farm Bill to ensure that this incredible work continues and doesn't have that pendulum. So stay tuned for more action and be sure to sign up to our and find newsletters. One thing I've heard a few times is remember that we're all in the game even if we don't want to play it, even if it's not our role as policy in our day-to-day. So I want all of us to carry that with us. Thank you for your time. Please contact your elected representatives, sign our petition, NSAC's organizational sign-on letter, and don't stop sharing your story. Thank you.
Just a huge thank you to National Farm to School Network for the incredible leadership they're showing and helping us stay informed, be aware of what's going on, and offer opportunities to make a change. We have time for a little bit of share out, and I know that there's other calls to action out there. One other thing I just want to mention on the farm to school front, and as you're listening to other folks, You might have been thinking, well, I'm not really involved in the school side of things. Maybe it doesn't matter. But every voice really counts right now. And what's happening in farm to school is building value chains that affect farm to hospital, that affects farm to college, that affects what's happening for farmers. We're all connected in this. And there's going to be a lot of calls to action, a lot of opportunities to have your voice heard. And keep up the energy, right? Because we're going to be in this for the long haul. It's not one and done. And so I really encourage you all to think about adding adding 5 minutes into your week. Another thing to sign on to, another opportunity to get involved. But it'll be really helpful if we continue to make our voices heard. So with that, I'm going to start coming around. There's a couple of us with microphones. We would love to hear some of the things that were coming out through your table discussions. I'm going to pick on someone first because I know she's got information about a local action that is really useful for folks to hear too. And that is Alita, not Farrell, Peterson. Sorry.
And I'm just going to hand the mic right over to our team at Full Place, Full Potential to share about their effort.
Okay, thank you. Hey, my name's Finn. I work with Full Plates, and just a quick local call to action. I really appreciate the framing of all of this and the importance of acknowledging that these cuts affect absolutely everybody. In Maine, just the CEP cuts alone could take away $10 million in federal funds from school meal programs. And so there's actually a rally tomorrow in Augusta and a public hearing. The rally is at noon in the Hall of Flags. The public hearing is at 1 in the Burton Cross building, room 208. And this is for an amended bill to help put protections and funding in place to protect school meals for all in Maine. There's a lot at stake right now, and we need everyone to show up. If you're able to, please come talk to me. If you'd like to testify, if you'd like to submit written testimony, we have templates, instructions for that. Happy to help with that, and just appreciate you all showing up.
Thanks, Finn. Okay, is there anyone else who has something that they want to share from their conversations at their tables? Any other calls to action? Any other sort of great follow-ups?
My name's Lily. I live here in Portland, recently worked with Full Plates, currently working with the Chef Ann Foundation. And I just wanted to echo everything that's being said, but even though the call to action that Finn just talked about is for the state of Maine school meals for all, I think that the state of Maine helped lead the way in getting school meals for all in many states. And if this is cut here, that also could empower other states to make changes. So I think no matter what state you're from in this region, being able to submit testimony or go speak helps all of us. So just tying that together.
Hi, I'm Jessie Silverman with the Center for Science and the Public Interest. Our topic was food in carceral settings, and one of the biggest takeaways that we had was that we need to put our heads together to collect data on the links between serving healthy food in carceral facilities and hopefully reductions in healthcare costs, because that we know that data would be really compelling to decision makers in terms of investing the money into those food programs that's needed to bring in more fresh local food.
Thank you, Jessie.
Hi, I'm Eric. This was food processors, food hubs, and value chain coordination. So we've got a nonprofit in Vermont that does glean produce but wants to seek the capacity and funding to do lightly processed produce. We've got folks that want support in Maine to make sure that they can get their logistics to the point where they can have LTL trucking across the lowest threshold to get the cost down. We've got people appreciating the technical assistance provided by the New England Food Hub Network, especially from McKenna at Food Connect, and that really made a big difference for a hub in Massachusetts. Similarly, where is this technical assistance one over here? Let's see. since I'm not finding it, this will be the last thing I say. Here it is, I got it. That multiple states had LFS grants, but states like Maine and Massachusetts that had TA built into the budgeted uses, it made a huge difference in outcomes.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks to the whole Food Hub crew over here. That was really great.
I'm Carrie Hotaling. I work for Subject to Climate, and there are only 2 people over here at this table discussing climate. And I would encourage this group to really embed the climate discussions into all of the different workshops or more of them, and perhaps have it a piece of the proposals that people are sending in, and we feel that there needs to be more promotion to the universities and maybe to teachers. There weren't any teachers in the workshop that I gave, so that's what I'm encouraging you to do.
Hi everyone, my name's Juliana and I'm here with the Local Food Switchboard Project, which is a Maine-based project. But I'm gonna put on my former hat for a second, and I used to work more on the food waste side of things. And every time food waste was mentioned, my ears perked up, and my ears didn't perk very often. So I am following on the climate discussion, would love to hear more about food waste in schools, and food waste prevention programming in schools is a great way to teach kids about food in general and where their food comes from, and what happens to it when they don't eat it. And this week happens to be Food Waste Prevention Week, which is a nationwide event. So Google it and look up some programming in your area or nationwide.
Thank you. Thanks, Juliana. Okay, lots of incredibly great suggestions. And the last sort of to-do we have for you all is that you will see on every table, we have, getting used to seeing this logo by now, but this beautiful postcard. We want you to write a note to your future self, as in a week from now, that far in the future. Write a note to yourself, giving yourself a promise of one action you're going to take. It could be one of the things you've just heard shared out. It could be something you've captured in your notes at your table. It could be something that you haven't talked about yet, or that you've been inspired to think about since you started this the summit. So we really encourage you to write a note to yourself, one thing you want to do. I know every time I go to a conference, I come away with a list of things that I'm like, oh, I got to do this. And then you go back and your emails are bogged down and the meetings start happening. And this is a great way to give yourself a reminder. So use this as a tool for yourself and have fun with it. Give yourself a little note and leave it on the table. We are going to mail it to you, so you are going to get that reminder in the mail, and you'll also have a lovely souvenir from the summit. You can put it on your desk, on your wall. And don't forget to put your address, because we might have it, but I can't guarantee that. So, all right. I would like to now hand things over to my colleague, Britt Florio. She's going to close us out. Thank you all. It's been great having you all here.
Well, while you are writing your postcard, or before you begin to write your postcard, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. We know that attending a conference can feel like drinking from a fire hose in terms of the info that you absorb, the actions that you want to take, and all those collaborations that you want to follow up on. And we also know that it can be difficult to maintain that intensity when you leave here to return to your awesome non-conference lives. So we want to encourage you to take one step at a time. Move at the pace which allows you to be the most resourced and to keep your nervous system the most regulated. Slowing down and moving with intention can often lead to the best results in the long term, y'all. So with that, I have a poem for you. This poem is by Donna Ashworth in the book Wild Hope, and it's called Do Less. When you stand at the threshold of a messy room and you're rendered motionless, unable to begin, so large is the task facing you, sit down. Do not view the scene as one, but focus in on a single thing. Maybe a shoe, missing its partner perhaps. Complete the pair, return them to where they live, and then sit down. Think of where you bought that shoe and how your life unfolded that day. Smile for the memory, no matter how plain. Then focus in on something else and repeat. It's better to take small steps than to drown in the overwhelm. And your mind is like that too. When your brain holds too much chaos, too much overwhelm, just sit down. Take one thought at a time, look at it, spin it with your actual inner voice and not your inner critic, and place it gently where it should be. When you, my friends, want to achieve more, try sitting down and doing less. As my colleague Sarah Lyman would say, simplify to amplify, slowing down and moving with intention. And that closes out the 2025 Northeast Farm to Institution Summit. Travel safe. See you in 2 years. Write yourself a postcard. Thank you.